Yo, what's going on, guys? We're going to be taking a look at a gold 2 Fiddlesticks player on the NA region. Looking at your runes, build items, that all looks good. Very standard setup with your predator, level order, and all that stuff. I liked what I saw. The thing I do want to mention is I do see you play multiple junglers. Nunu is one of them. Nunu is one of your mains. And I will say Fiddlesticks this game, I'm not a huge fan of it. For a lot of your abilities, you have to stand still, which makes things like Morgana really annoying. Plus, her Black Shield negates your fear. On top of that, Cass gets a bunch of basically free magic resist from his passive. He takes reduced damage against magic damage. And he gets a free magic resist shield. And Nunu, Spirit Visage is one of his best items. So if Nunu gets Spirit Visage, Cass gets fed, any of that type of stuff, you're just going to lose. So I'm not crazy about Fiddlesticks this game also because your team has 0 frontliners. Fiddlesticks' whole playstyle revolves around the team's fighting, and then you are in from the side from where they don't see you. Like, that's the whole point, is the fight's happening, then bam, you blast in. I mean, if you can get a raw R off beforehand, that's great too, but that's usually a little more rare. It's only like 20-30% of the time. Majority of the time, the enemies get impatient, they engage, they don't know where you are, and then boom, you pop up. So you're leaving base a little bit on the late side. Fiddlesticks is terrible for these type of fights. You generally want to avoid invading with Fiddlesticks or fighting stuff like this because his damage is awful. He has to basically stand still. Nice. He has at least picked that up. I like your control word health potion start. There's absolutely no point you're going to be able to fight or really solo Nunu anyways in a meaningful way, so going refill's pointless. The only time going refill makes sense on Fiddle Jungle if it's a matchup where you genuinely believe you can win the solo, and those are few and far between. The control word spot, it's a little bit out there. It's a little bit on the aggressive side. Nunu's definitely going to walk into this very early since Nunu prios scuttles, so ideally, you want your pink word to be up as much as possible. I guess if you plan on buying more of them pre-6, since you can't get oracles on Fiddle pre-6, then that's one thing, but just keep that in mind. That's going to die pretty soon. Looks like you're going in for you're doing basically the easiest start on Fiddlesticks, which is just solo wolves. This takes the least amount of skill. If you want to take this up to the next level, like Giga level, you would start wolves, pull it into blue, pull it from here, come over, do them at the same time. I think I've shown this before in one of my videos, and then you do blue gromp same time. But it seems like you're at a level where, okay, all right, you did it. I like it. So you've clearly put some time into this clear. With that being said, it looked a little bit sketchy. I'd say, okay, let me put it this way. So this is a little nitty gritty. I can tell you practice this. Maybe you're not completely comfortable, but you're still trying it. I wouldn't try something that you can't do 100% in ranked games. I would do that in normals or preferably training tool. Because you're not really, after the first drain cycle, it should already be pulled over and you're doing blue and wolves at the same time. And then right when wolves die, you should be doing blue and gromp at the same time. There's a lot of wasted drains in here. So you go in for the second drain, then on the third drain, you finally pull it over. Then you take your time and you do another full drain on its own against the blue buff. And then you do a second full drain against the blue buff. What it should have looked like if you want to do it this way is first drain is on the wolves. You stand off to the corner, you take it, then you pull it over here, walk it back. And then once wolves are dead, you immediately... or I guess once your drain ends and the wolf isn't there anymore, you go hit the gromp with your E to pull it. But basically, you have a lot of wasted time. So either practice that, or what you need to do is just start on blue buff. This is the easiest thing you can do. You can still hit 315 clears with it. Just start on blue, pull it to the gromp. Very easy to do. Take the blue and gromp, then you do wolves, then you do red and wraps. That clear where you start on blue, do blue gromp same time, then wolves is 10 times easier, and you're still going to be hitting 315 clear. So I'd probably just recommend that instead from what I just saw. So you finally pull the gromp. You're level 3. You do have the predator set up, so I can understand wanting to push out here. But yeah, it looks like you haven't picked up a point in your queue because you're trying to decide if you want to just get another point. Honestly, don't know why you're invading. Let me back up. I've been focused so much on your clear, I haven't really been paying attention. Why are you invading? You have no vision of the enemy jungler. All you have is the effigy. So you see Nunu come in, so you know he's on his top side jungle. Like, why do you go over there? Fiddlesticks can't really solo any jungler for the most part, or especially anything that can cancel his drain. For example, his knock up. Plus, you're not going to be able to get away from him because of his phase rush. So I definitely would avoid trying to solo the enemy jungler. You need to just be focusing on hitting 315 or faster clears on Fiddlesticks, ganking, then resetting. Especially with Predator, you don't want to be doing too much nonsense like this because you're just slowing down your keystone usage. This is just putting yourself really, really far behind. You're delaying your recall for Predator boots. You're also delaying your level 6. So, like you are here for this, which is nice, but you could have just pinged this anyways, and you could have been finishing up Krugs right now. You would have been up so much more CS and XP than you are now, and just done a gank scuttle or gank reset. Like this, it might turn out because Kale's low, but these type of situations we really need to avoid, especially pre-Predator boots. It's just so much risk involved with that. Fiddlesticks isn't the best for ganking pre-level 4 because you haven't done double points in drain, so you're not full clearing. When you do things like this, you're playing into the enemy jungler strength. In this case, it did turn out because Kale had lost lane. However, in most situations, if you're playing against a good early game jungler as Fiddlesticks, you don't try to force interactions like this because that's not Fiddlesticks' strength. If you were Xin Zhao, I'd say, hey, go for it. Elise, you betcha. But Fiddlesticks, no, just do the full clear. Coming up behind the cast, you land the silence. You get the fear and the drain. Of course, Fiddlesticks has no damage. There's not much you can do here other than just dropping the silence, going straight into W, and that's what happens on Fiddlesticks. Very low damage output. All of this stemmed from just being underfarmed and forcing too many ganks before your level 4. Fiddlesticks is just full clear, gank, reset. And then once you have Predator, your options open up a lot more. Nice, you know how to take red and raptors at the same time. That's very promising. A Fiddlesticks player that can take red and raps consistently, you can easily hit high platinum with just full clears. Easily. Blue Gromp same time, Wolves, red rap same time, Krugs, you finish pre-315. It's that easy. Easily hit mid-high platinum with that alone. This was kind of weird. You pathed away from the Krugs. Jinx was on her way anyways. If you would have just done Krugs, you probably could have ganked for your bot lane. And you know the enemy's pushing because if you would have looked, whenever you're doing your camps, you need to look on the mini-map at the 2 closest lanes because that's going to be your gank. You would have looked mid and you would have said, Vel'Koz can't gank for that. There's no one there. Shoved underneath turret. You would have looked bot and you would have said, oh, Ziri's got a pushing wave. And you see you're pounding minions. That's a free Krug camp into gank. That should have been a kill, in my opinion. Instead, we go to Wolves. We're pathing towards Jace. I don't think we're going to be able to gank for that. So we've ganked twice with no Predator boots. We've had Predator boots and we haven't ganked once. This is something to think about. All right, Nunu's doing Raptors. Let's not try to fight him. This is a good play. Just pop Predator and run at him. You just run up with the Q. Yep. That's the right play. Don't throw out the skill shot. Just going for Q easy. You can just hit him with the silence here. And then his snowball, it forces him to drop it. And then it'll hit your minion. So you can throw out silence and he's done for. I mean, he doesn't have the damage output to kill you. But still, you could just silence that. And the snowball would have hit your minion. If you had no minions there, then the snowball still probably would have hit you from its rolling speed. But since the minions were there, they definitely would have blocked. Nunu spazzes out, wastes R. On Fiddlesticks, you want to be trying to, after gank, soaking as much XP as possible because Fiddlesticks is all about hitting a timely level 6. Very important to soak the minion XP. Soaking one minion wave is basically like taking 2.5 monster camps. It's super, super efficient for your time to just stave the extra 3 to 9 seconds to push the wave with your laner. Predator boots are still on a cooldown. You're trying to find I guess this is a counter gank. This is just a weird situation of a lot of chasing from both sides. I don't think you really need to even throw out your silence there. I think that's... So when you silence, his R's... You just watched him R. His R's on a cooldown. There was no reason to silence. You should have just walked up, Q'd, and then he's coming out, then silence. Because you still needed to get in range to Q. But since you just saw him R, silencing him did absolutely nothing here. Because he's still walking away. I know it's a slow as well, but still. It's just the silence aspect was wasted. Fear does have a travel time, as you see. He starts up his R. Your Fear travels. His R still goes through. Nunu's deep in your jungle. If you start getting slowed, he's in bush channeling R. You'll have to throw out an E. This is that tough situation where you get snared because you have to stand still, but you get the shutdown. Nice. Still not level 6, 7 minutes 30 into the game. Never try to solo champs on Fiddlesticks unless you have an extreme item advantage, level advantage, or like you are on top of them. Like this is never going to work. Even if you were equal HP as her, you're still not going to be able to win this. Just one of those things. That's Fiddlesticks' biggest weaknesses. He's absolutely terrible at soloing champions. He's one of the worst at in the games at it. The only time he can ever truly do it is massive item lead, massive level lead, or he goes in with an R on a squishy. Speaking of your Rs, you picked Fiddlesticks when your team was super AP heavy this game with the Sona Vel'Koz. You guys are triple AP this game, only double AD with the Jinx Jace with no frontline, which is going to make it hard for your ADs to actually get in there and do damage. So this game, having Void Staff third item was probably the move since your team is so magic damage heavy. Nice job taking multi-camps. You're level 6. You need to look for a gank immediately. Like you'd see, once again, whenever you're farming, this is the best thing about playing jungle is you're not having to trade and lane and scramble and scrap over minions as you get to look. So either unlock your screen, or even if your screen's locked, you click on the mini map, or you can even use an F key. The F key works wonders too. Hold on, let me swap that. So either use the minimap or use the F keys and use boom. Even if they're under turret, look. Bam, she's low. This is easy dive. You look mid. Not an easy kill, and Vel'Koz is far away. We probably just run top here, pick up a quick cheeky kill. Instead, we give it up because I guess we saw she was under turret, but we didn't bother to look to see if it was diveable. Just because you see someone's picture under a turret, you need to take a closer look, even if it's just for like a half a second. Especially when your R is up. So you look bot, Morgana's full health. This isn't a great dive. Our ult has been up for like over 40 seconds. It's been up for a long, long time. We need to get some value out of it. Nice E onto the dragon. It's trashing the Morgana. Looks like you're defending your effigy with your R. It's fine. You see, once again, you see Ziri? You look at the two closest lanes, nothing you can do here. Boom, she's pushing lane. This is easy kill. She's not even level 6. And you also examine the items. You're like, okay, only tier 1 boots. I'm tier 2 boots. I have Predator. She's no full item. This is a free kill. Like, we can skip the red buff. We're already level 6 with Predator. Getting this red buff right now does nothing since we have a free kill sitting on our plate. When soaking, a wave of minion XP is worth way more than a red buff is. So remember, boom, boom. Sona should push up for that bush and try to get a control word in it. Jinx needs to take care of those before you step up on that wall. You could just come up behind her with your Predator. You'd probably get the kill out of it. The second she steps up for the last hit, I would just pop bush with Predator and wreck her. Just run up behind her. You won't even need your R, dude. If this is a 3-on-1 or even a 3-on-2, just fear into silence what Sona's gonna R, Jinx is gonna snare and slow. Like, she's dead. You don't even need R here. Predator, walk in, drop the silence. Nice. Good ability usage. You just should have went in sooner is the only difference. Morgana flashed. And Nunu got dragon. Definitely don't try to solo a tank jungler once they have their Sunfire Aegis. Tank junglers are actually pretty nasty once they hit that power spike because of the flame touch passive on it. Fiddlesticks is reliant on his teammates to do the damage. His drain's been just so over nerfed. It's like one of the worst abilities in the game. It doesn't even do more damage than most abilities. It does less damage than most abilities, and he has to stand still to use it. And it can be canceled. It doesn't make any sense. The things Fiddlesticks players endure. Also, if you want to pick up a different AP champ... Wait, what are you doing? You already have a control word here. You could probably find a better angle, but I guess since your flash is up, this is fine. Also, your Predator boots are up, so you definitely could just Predator, but it is what it is. You want to burn your flash. I guess you don't want to burn it. You walk up. You get down the fear. I'm a little surprised you feared the Morgana and not the Zeri here. Also, you're being incredibly greedy with your flash. I would have just flashed on top blue smited, because you're missing out on... You missed out on like 80% of your R's damage because you held on to flash. I think this would have just been a simple fear Zeri. Morgana's already in a really crap position. Fear the Zeri, blue smite Morgana, and then silence Zeri when she comes out of the fear. Nice, Jinx secures. Nice job. You run back for Krugs. I guess that's fine. Staying for plates would also be a good option. Nunu shouldn't be doing that. I don't know what he thinks he's going to do. You don't even need to be here for this. Your teammates should be able to just win that. Yep. Why are the enemies just why are they going in like this? This is so weird. Nunu goes in by himself. Then Cass comes down. All you do against Cass is if you know he wants to engage, you don't throw anything out. You just let him R in, then you fear him, because you can't miss that. If you go to throw out your silence, it's such a long animation, he could just flash it or R. So he completely dodged it with his R, and I think he burned his flash there as well. But instead, if you just played the guaranteed route instead of trying to 420 no scope him, you know he wants to engage. If he doesn't engage, he runs away, and he wasted so much time. So it's a win-win. If he engages, he loses. If he leaves, he loses. So just stand there in range to fear if he jumps on one of your teammates. At that point, you would fear. Right as he's about to come out, you silence, then drain. You're making it harder on yourself than it needs to be. That's unfortunate. You go take blue in the Gromp. Your R's up right now, so is your Predator. You need to be thinking, where do I go? Where do I go? You see Jace is backing. That kind of sucks. You can't go there. You might be able to solo defend this turret. Probably won't be able to kill Cass because he's got a full item. And your damage output is very low. We'll see. Oh, what? Was this what? Was that worded? Oh, okay, he did ward it. Wow. I was like, how did he actually know? Another reason why playing Fit into Cass is so crap. He can cancel your drain with his Q. Oof, yeah. Cass eats magic damage champs alive. Pop Predator, don't know what that's gonna do. Kill randomly ents. This game is so weird. This is a decent opportunity to take the Herald since Jace just killed the Cal and your teammates are pushing them back. That being said, Fid takes Herald pretty crap. Herald Eye opens up based on the amount of auto attacks it's taking. Since Fid does most of his damage through drain, it puts you in a lose-lose situation. What I'm trying to say is Fiddle takes dragons better than he takes Heralds. You drop the Herald. I wouldn't. I think this was a... Yeah, don't do that. So let me tell you why you might want to use the Herald differently in the future. So number one, turret plates are gone 14-minute mark, so you're not getting any bonus gold here. Number two, first turret bonus gold has already been taken by either your bot lane or your top lane. Number three, you just got Herald. You can hold on to it for, I believe, 4 minutes. Yeah, you can hold on to it for 4 minutes after you take it. So there's absolutely no rush to use it here on top of those other reasons. So wouldn't have done it. It's best to lay it either for the plates, first turret, or if you've killed an enemy so you can get off multiple hits with it. But you haven't really killed anything here. It might get this turret, but then someone's going to come and grab and catch it. So you lay the Herald and then you go die. What the heck? So your two teammates bot lane, they're both dead. At this point, you shouldn't be looking for a fight. Even if your R is up. because you don't do any damage to Cass. Even if you hit Cass with an R by yourself, you won't even do half his health because he's got like 2 items. So here we should not be looking for a fight. We should have just gone back to farm or reset if we have enough gold to get hourglass, which I don't think we do. Still need, I think, another 800. Cass goes in, bada boom, takes you downtown. That's how it goes against Cass. I know the pain, dude. I've played a lot of Evelyn. Playing even to Cass is really, really annoying. You have to position really smart, expect where he's coming from, try to put your, think about like what he's thinking about. It's the only way you can do it. So you see your teammates pushing up over here. This is the type of play you'd want to be around. I don't know why Ziri's down here. That's really, really newbie. This is also a great option since she's secluded. Since you're running into wards, this shouldn't work. So you really shouldn't be doing this. But, I mean, she's still doing it anyways, even though she sees you on the mini-map. You probably can't kill her now. Yeah. Ooh, nice flash. I like the limit test. The limit test is good because she has 0 HP items, 0 magic resist items, so she's very squishy to what you're putting out. She's not ready to handle it. She's running a fire Pokemon and your water Pokemon here. You go in, bada boom, flash, fear. You walk up nice and close. Definitely should have silenced before dropping the drain. Silence is a nice chunk of burst. When you fear people, they move away linearly away from you. So that should have just been a very simple fear. Walk, and then you could have just E'd into the bush without even needing to see. But by not using your E, she might have been able to flash away or do some nonsense. But I guess she already burned it. I don't know if you knew that, though. Missed out on 156 burst damage. Push the wave before you left. I like it. Once you are level 6 on Fiddlesticks, you need to try to mirror your teammates as much as possible with your R. That's the only way you're going to get kills. So playing around that Vel'Koz Ziri fight's fine. Just try to keep looking for that. So here you see your teammates pushing up mid. You see the enemies mid. What you want to do is set up yourself for an R around this area or this area to where you can defend the turret. Your R's on a cooldown right now, so you're looking for Wolves or Gromp, or I guess you're pushing all the way out for Scuttle. You're going for Jace now. That's fine. You can mirror him since he's the deepest person up on the map. This is where they're most likely to come to. This is a good thought process. All right. Yep, we're in the right place, right time. We're R'ing from really far away. It would have been fine for you to just take another step. Also, you can click Predator, then click R. I don't think you even used your Predator there. Predator takes like a second or second and a half to kick in, but you can click your Predator button and then press R and just go in. You don't have to just choose not to use it. Nice rocket belt usage though. That looked good. How did he get out of your CC so fast? Did he take Tenacity and Runes and he has Merc Treads? If the Fear lands... Oh, Jace wrecked you. Jace knocked him out of the silence. That's really unfortunate. Jace panicked pretty hard there. Yeah, Phase Rush plus Jace knocking him away. That saved the day for him. Now that your R's on cooldown, mirroring him isn't nearly as safe. You got to keep a close eye on the minimap. You see in his bot lane, you see Kale's dead. Jace is only going to die if Cass rotates. Cass is missing on the map. It's a good thing you... Wait, you didn't stay. Don't know where you're going there. I guess it was time to sacrifice the Jace. Like, granted, he shouldn't still be here since you guys don't know where Cass is. But with that being said, you should have expected Cass to come. So if you felt like you guys could have 2 versus 1 him, which you can, because Jace is 2 full item and a half and Cass is 2 full item and a half. So plus you guys should win that. You should have stayed based off the minimap information. Cass is nowhere to be seen. Jace is the farthest person up. Cass is obviously like 80% chance he's going to come here. So since Jace didn't back off, you should have just stayed. Instead, you walk away. Oof, that was ugly. He killed him so fast. You could make the argument maybe he kills you both, but I don't think he was going to. Jace would have healed quite a bit off of him, I think. Always try to have your R up for the next dragon fight, Herald fight, or Baron fight. You did a nice job having your R up for this. Nice, nice, nice. Your effigy's down. Try to keep a control ward around with you if you can. I know your items are filled right now, but ideally, especially in the mid game when these fights are so important, having a control word makes a huge difference because you can effigy 2 different bushes, control word the other bush, and you can R from 3 different places safely. I like your spacing. You should always be like a Lux Q distance away from your farthest out enemy. So for example, Jace is the tip of the spear. You're a Lux Q away. That means you can R in and save him. So this is a good spot. I don't know why you're still holding on to it. Before you click R, just click your Predator first and give you extra speed if you don't land on them immediately. And it'll give you some extra damage too. So just Predator, then press R. You can rocket belt in, Q, E, W. Wow, you died really fast. We went in at kind of an awkward time. You seem to be afraid when you don't have like full vision. For example, when you feared Zeri, you didn't silence her even though you knew exactly where she was. Just because you didn't technically have vision. In here, it seemed like you got kind of spooked because you lost vision of Nunu for like, this should have just been the R. That frame where you saw him still going forward with his E, but now he's so far away that when we are here, like the timing on it's actually not that good. We going anyways. I think the Zeri was in a good spot for you to just R there instead of there. We don't have Hourglass, so we died pretty quick. If you don't have Hourglass, you have to be thinking strictly on the mindset of, I have to CC whoever can one-shot me. The only person on their team who can one-shot you based on items is Cass. So definitely should just fear him immediately into silence, if possible. Enemy goes back in, and they get absolutely wrecked by your team's AoE damage. You really gotta use Predator then R though. That's really slowing you down by not using it. That's the whole point of Predator, is to have that extra utility and movement speed. You're missing out on the electrocute damage at the bonus of the utility speed. R's up once again. Nice job being a Lux Q away from your furthest up teammate. Hovering the wall, it looks good. Oh, it's just so needless. It's so like over the top. Just, I guess all I would say here is like, just be a little bit more patient. It was the same thing when you fought Cass bot side, when your teammates were both over half health. Cass wasn't 2 items yet, and he was about to R in, and you tried to throw out a silence, even though Fiddle's silence is a really long animation. If you would have just waited till he R'd in and then feared him, then silenced him, you guys would have killed him, and both your teammates would have lived and you would have lived. It's the same thing here. It's okay to let your teammates get beat up a little bit. You don't have to rescue them before the first punch is thrown. It's best to R in after your teammates are getting hit a little bit, because enemies are engaged. They've used their gap closers. They're committed. They may not see you. They may be completely tunnel vision. They may be on lock cam. So even from this position, you could still do a good R. You go in way too early. Your teammates haven't even gotten hit yet. Jinx almost picks up a kill off of it still. She does. Nice, nice, nice. You still have your Predator, at least according to the replay you do. It's really easy to get pickups with Predator when you're running people down. Just click the button. Oh man. After the new Morg pick, you guys want to look for either inhib or Baron. You have to analyze, do we have minions for inhib? I honestly don't think you do, so I think you guys just Baron here. Should be pretty free. Your minions are so far away that you guys could already be like a third of the way done through Herald by the time minions get to turret. Jace is really deep. Cass picks up the kill. He gets away. Wait, where are you at? Okay, there you are. Looks like we still have our Predator. We're saving it for next game so we can have ×2 Predators. I like it. Walking around, walking around. You see a fight's about to happen, always be a Lux Q distance away. So now you're too far away. Now you're like 3 Lux Qs away here. So we need to reposition. So your teammates are getting knocked up, backhanded, slapped, elbowed, choked. We weren't here for the R this time. I like that effigy though. You should get in that bush now that you know it's clean. Wait, why didn't you just R on that? I feel like that would have been an easy R. Maybe not. Well, do you have hourglass? Wait, you have hourglass. Why didn't you R on that? You gotta keep in mind your Jinx is kind of big. She's kind of big right now. So right when he hourglasses, I would walk up closer and then R. Morgana snare shouldn't cancel your R channel. You should just go straight through it. Snares don't cancel channels. So yeah, I would have just walked up right on top of his head and R'd in on his teammates. You have hourglass, so you could hourglass immediately if you wanted to. If you lost a lot of health, if you didn't lose a lot of health, you just fear cast right when he comes out of his hourglass or whatever. It just seemed really free there since you were full health. You guys are fighting underneath turret, so as you walk up, they're not even like in range to really threaten much. Plus the Vel'Koz R and whatnot. I would definitely use, now that you have them on the run, definitely would use Predator. I feel like we're not using Predator enough. Nunu randomly goes in. He's inting. Crazy Nunu plays. I like the Baron call. When the enemy jungler's dead, Baron 5 versus 4 is pretty safe. You also have your R. Oh no, you just used your smite on Scuttle. Luckily your smite is barely back up in time. Yeah, don't use smite on Scuttle when you're about to do an objective, because you're going to need the smite. Rocket Belt away, that's fine. You didn't have to go Leandres this game because they're not that tanky. If they're running double tank, Leandres is definitely the way to go on Fiddlesticks Jungle. And there's only one tank you can get away with Rocket Belt if you feel like the extra mobility is useful, which I think it is since they're triple ranged. You don't really need blue buff, dude. Just give blue buff to your mid laner. If your mid laner's a poke laner like Xerath or Vel'Koz, they'll get way more value out of it than you do. With your jungle item, ever since you buy it from the start of the game, whenever you're in the jungle or river, you get a bunch of mana back anyways, which is normally where you're standing on Fiddlesticks to set up an R. So you don't even need the blue buff at this point in the game. You already have your R. He's not delaying your level 6. In the team fight stage, give it to the poke champ on your team, who's gonna just burn through mana. Wait, now you used your Predator, you little turd. I see you. You still have 2 teammates in base. You get pumped when you see that cast. Like, oh boy, it's my time to shine. This is bad positioning on Fiddlesticks. You never want the enemies to actively know where you are. It lets them roam freely around the map, either split pushing or setting up flanks because they know exactly where you are. They don't have to fear your R. One of the big strengths from Fiddlesticks comes from hiding in the shadows, lurking to where they don't really know where you are. They're afraid to fight, and eventually someone on their team gets greedy and starts a fight, and then you win the game. It's that simple. But if they know where you are, like, the whole concept of your R just doesn't work. Same thing with Evelyn. Evelyn, she lurks. She doesn't walk up and start hitting the minions with her teammates. You guys should definitely push for inhib though. Force them to come to you. You need to get off to the side though. Like, this is never, ever, 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 ever where you want to be. For the most part, this game, your positioning for the R setup was good. It was just the R itself was like really forced. But here in the late game, it's also, you're getting impatient and you're trying to be the tip of the spear. You never want to be the tip, even if your team doesn't have a tank, because this is what happens. You don't get a chance to R, or at the very least, he would have forced out your hourglass and you don't get to R in. Luckily, your team's like pretty fed and your AD carry's decent enough. So she does a lot off of that. Your teammates should be able to end here. Jinx is just wigging out skill. I haven't seen Zeri do much in the late game. She seems like a really hit or miss Kalista style champion. Nothing really beats Jinx late game though from the AD carry position. She has the most range in the game, the most AoE, the most sustained damage over time. Champ's just nuts. Alright, I'm not going to remember everything off the top of my head, but the biggest things is always try to fear, then silence. That way you can't miss the fear. That way you can't miss the silence, right? Because the fear is point and click, the silence is not. Silence also has a really long animation. So fear, then silence, then drain. It's that simple. With your R's, for the most part, you did a good job keeping lux distance away from the tip of the spear. Try to keep doing that, and don't feel like you have to R in before your teammates start getting pummeled. It's usually good to let them get pummeled and for the enemies to be preoccupied before you R, so it's a more successful R. Also, don't forget to click Predator before you R in a fight, because it gives you that extra movement speed and extra damage. And probably the most important thing, stop ganking so much before you have your Predator boots. Just do a full clear. Get double points in your drain. It's way more consistent. There's such little risk, such high reward to just do the full clear into gank, then reset for the Predator boots plus Dark Seal. So yeah, just start blue instead. You did the hardest clear possible on Fiddlesticks, where you do wolves and a blue gromp, and I'm not saying this to degrade what you did or who you are, but you did a really suboptimal job on it, to where it just slowed you down. If you would have just solo started wolves, it would have probably been faster than this, maybe. Or at the very least, if you would have pulled blue to gromp, which is 10 times easier, 10 times more consistent, it would have been faster than what you did. Just first drain on blue, second drain blue gromp, you keep draining them till they die, then you do wolves. That would have been much faster. Other than that, nice job, man. I can definitely see you getting platinum this season on Fiddlesticks with a little more discipline. Best of luck to you.